What's up, guys? Abel Streetcar Builds back at it again with part 3 of our Coyote swap build. Okay, as you saw the title, and this one we're gonna go ahead and drop the Cayman. We're gonna go ahead and put the headers, put the shifter, run the transmission lines to the front, so we can go ahead and try to start working on turning on this car. All right. I still don't know. I think we might have to do a patch delete, but we're gonna worry about that later. Okay, and this one we just want to finish up the actual swap so we can go ahead and jump from that to the wiring and stuff like that. All right, guys. All right, guys, so I got started a little bit early, off camera, but it was pretty straightforward. So the shifter came without this bracket, so I had to bolt it on right here. As you can see, it was just 2 bolts. Pretty straightforward. Just told me, make sure that hole's up. So the hole was up. And then we went to the next page and kind of showed me how it went. Let me see, which one is it? This one right here. So, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. It doesn't seem too hard. So I was able to knock that out. It's still kind of loose here, so so I can adjust it later. But that's pretty much how the top is gonna be. The top in the car, that's pretty much how it's gonna be. Now what we're gonna go ahead and jump to is under the transmission. So we can go ahead and put this bracket. We got some bolts there. This is probably gonna go on the end of the shifter. And it's pretty straightforward. I was reading the instructions, and let me see here. It doesn't really. This one's actually pretty easy. I had the what do you call it? The pro ratchet shifter, and that one was a little bit more confusing. This one's pretty easy for a 6R80. Let me see here. Here it says that the lockout's already set from the factory. So that one's pretty legit. Let me see here. Now the only thing we need to do, we need to find the 6R80. Right here, this one. Ford 6R80. So we're gonna have to follow this diagram. Spacers. We're gonna need to put some spacers right there, which I'm guessing. Wow, I don't have no spacers in here. What spacers are they talking about? We're gonna need to find some spacers for that. Right there, we got some spacers. I don't have no spacers in here, but we're gonna go ahead and look for them. Another thing, I took off the ear. If you remember in the other video, I don't know if you can see here, this thing was hitting the header, but this one is actually a little bit longer and it won't stick out as much. We won't have this part because the bolt will go, the head is only gonna be here, the rest goes in. So I'm hoping that we don't have no issues with this. Let's see here. We actually might have a little bit more to the inside, so that might work better. Another thing we got, guys, that we're gonna go ahead and install while we're down there with the shifter is these transmission line adapters for AN. And I didn't think I was gonna need this. The thing is, man, is that you go to Power by the Hour, you see all these little things, and you're like, I don't think I'm gonna need this, I'm gonna need that. But all this stuff eventually you might need, what I mean? Unless you're able to fabricate something. Like my transmission lines didn't work with the headers. So, it was either, figure something out or just get this, and it looks legit. All this goes in, and then we put our AN lines. I kind of messed up because I ended up getting just some push lock hose like this. And not cool, because I should have just got some nylon or something steel braided, because since we are going to be driving the car a lot, those do tend to get hot, around the header and stuff. But what we're going to go ahead and do is just put some heat wrap around it for now, and then later on we'll go and we'll put some steel braided line. All right, so I put some self tappers right here, just to hold it in place. It's not even bolted all the way down. Around the core, I drilled right here. Had my drill right here. Drilled a nice little hole just to hold it. I actually like this shifter. This is the 6-inch, because I was trying to get the 4-inch, which is a little bit shorter. But this is actually pretty perfect, because I actually bolted the seat in just to see where I wanted it. And right here is perfect. Right there. And then we go sport mode. It's good. It's perfect angle, just in case want to hold it in gear, and then boom, just jump to automatic and concentrate on steering. I like it. It's pretty legit. As you can see, we can put it in drive right there. We can go sport mode right there, and we'll just bolt this down later. But I like it. It's pretty legit. Let's go ahead and jump down there to the bottom, guys. All right, guys, so we got the shifter in. It's not fully adjusted, but it looks like it's legit right there where it's at. I haven't really messed with it. I jumped to the transmission lines. All right, so this wasn't, I didn't think this through. I just got push lock hose with some clamps on there. And the thing is that since we are going to be driving this car a lot, you don't want this close to the header. Okay, luckily I wasn't going to wait around to get some braided or nylon, none of, I didn't want to wait around. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I do have some heat wrap from years ago when I had my small block Ford. I had that metal cold air intake, and it would get really hot, so I had bought some heat wrap, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm probably gonna tie these together, with some zip ties, and then we're gonna put some heat wrap at least halfway to the front of the K member. And then since I don't want to use the glue from the heat wrap, just it might come off or stuff, I don't have no metal ties, so we got some I'll go ahead and show you. All right, so this is the heat wrap that I got. It's legit, it's nice. It is glue on, but I don't want to take off the glue and then wrap it. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna zip tie the lines together, and then we're gonna wrap this around, and then we're gonna tie it with some metal ties, just to give us that extra protection while we're driving. We don't want a line melting, busting, throwing out all the oil. All right, we got the zip ties on. Let's go ahead and get this measured so we can go ahead and put some heat wrap around it. All right, so we got the heat wrap on there. What I did is I just took off a little bit of the glue on the edge, ripped off the tape, just so it can stick on. So that looks pretty legit right there. It's nice. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna tie it with some metal ties just so it doesn't come off. And we're probably gonna add another piece so it can go at least up to up here, just so we can get some extra protection on the heat wrap. It's my fault. I should have got some braided line or something that could withstand the heat. But this is just another cost-effective way we can do it. And we'll still have access to the AN lines just in case when we put the headers, if we have to move them up or down, just adjust them. We can still have access to the lines. We have access to the bolt. We loosen up that bolt and we can push those lines up, down, anywhere we need to go. All right, guys, so we got the K member out. All right, so we got the engine hanging with the hoist. Nothing underneath. I had to put a jack right between right where the transmission's at, just to keep it steady, just so I can, what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that when I unbolted the K member, it came out loose. Because if it comes out kind of tight, or when I put the headers, it's gonna be hard to put it in. All right, so I did go ahead and do that. It came out smooth. So without moving the engine at all, or just a little bit of wiggle room here and there to put the headers, without moving the engine, the K member should bolt right up, and the bolt to the motor mount should bolt right up, and then we'll tighten everything up. From the factory, these come with multi-layered gaskets, MLS gaskets. I would like to use these, but since clearance is a real issue right now, I'm worried, well, not worried about the passenger side, but the driver side, I'm gonna go ahead and use the ones that they supplied. These are a little bit thicker. As you can see here, these are thicker than the factory, but like I said, centimeters are crucial right now with the shifter, and the hoses are on the driver's side, so we're gonna go ahead and use these thicker ones. Boom, guys, literally took 2 minutes. I ended up using the studs better, because I didn't want to have to be messing around with holding it and all this stuff. The studs worked. That's the best thing about freaking moving off the K member, is this thing went right in. All right, go. So we knocked out, that's one. It's still loose. I just put 2 bolts just to hold it up, but that's one down. We're gonna go ahead and tighten it up, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump to the driver's side. That's the one I'm worried about, but hopefully we don't have any issues. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I struggle with these headers. We're gonna go ahead and start with the steering shaft. Okay, I don't know if you can see here. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in. Right there, boom, it's touching. Okay, so I had a lot of trouble with that. So what ended up happening is that, you know, I had taken off the brake booster, you know, to work on it. And that little shaft, this little shaft right there, let me see here. That little shaft, the one that goes in, okay, so it didn't want to go in. It didn't want to go in. It was too thick, it would just hit. So what I did, I got the grinder, you know, trimmed it down on both ends and it went in. I trimmed it down a little bit more, 3/4. All right, so once it was 3/4, what I ended up doing, I just hit it with the hammer. Boom, 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 went in. Well, when I hit it with the hammer, it ended up pushing the steering column up. So when it came down to connecting the shaft to the steering rack, it didn't want to reach. So I had to take everything off, loosen up the steering column, push it down, ready up. That was one of the issues right there, okay guys. And another issue is our shift linkage is hitting the header. I'm gonna go ahead and post a clip of what I did, how I hit it. But right here, just so you can see from the outside, it was you can't see from here, but it was hitting the shift linkage back there. And I used the header wrap and I hit it with the hammer. Boom, hit it in, just barely fits. Honestly guys, I really don't care how these headers fit. I just want the car to turn on because I do plan on boosting the car, so I didn't want to spend $2,000, you know, on headers, or $1,500 on headers when I'm gonna go ahead and boost it. So once we got the steering out of the way, you know, I started hitting it hard, trying to finish it up. We got the steering rack in with the bump steer kit. I didn't know how to put a bump steer kit, but just YouTube, Google, and we put the bump steer kit also. We have the oil cooler delete that we're gonna go ahead and put on also. We're gonna go ahead and put that later on. And we got the boss intake finally bolted down. I never really bolted it down because the hood doesn't close. So I would just take it off at night. I would just, you know, mock up hoses, stuff like that, and then take it off at night. But yeah, it's finally bolted in. Okay guys, so right now we are literally just at a standstill with the car, so we can go ahead and send it off to wiring. What it is that I had to get a new water pump because since the car was wrecked, you can see here, this water pump does not turn. All right, we had to get a new idler pulley also, and you can see how it's messed up. You know, it doesn't even, I don't know if you can see here, it doesn't even line up. Took it off. The water pump is pushed in. All right, so we ended up getting a new water pump, a new pulley, a new idler, got everything. Once we get this figured out, once we get it squared away, we are done. We'll send it off to get wired up so they can turn it on. You know, I wanted to do it, but wiring is not my strong suit. You know, I'm not good at it. You know, I'd rather just leave it to the professionals. We ended up getting new hoses from here on out. This one was, I didn't think I was gonna need it, but it's cracked. So we ended up getting new hoses, and more than likely we're gonna go to Power by the Hour and get the adapter so we can go ahead and go from the top over here and the bottom over here, and the adapters to delete the heater hoses right here. And that's pretty much it guys. And the drive shaft, we do got to get a drive shaft, but that's gonna go ahead and be later on. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and show you the water pump, everything we got. Oh, also another thing guys, I got the oil cooler connected. I wired it up. It's gonna be pushing air that way. You know, I didn't have enough room to flip it the other way so it can pull, which would be better, but it's gonna be pushing air, and then the engine fans will be pulling, so that'll be helping. You know, we got them light up more or less. I cut them a little bit longer just in case I gotta move this a little bit further to the passenger side so we don't have clearance issue with the lights and stuff. But that's pretty much it guys. Now we're just waiting on the pulley. All right guys, so I'm editing the video and I saw that I didn't film an outro, so this is gonna go ahead and end it for today's video. All right, in the next video we're gonna go ahead and do coolant lines. We'll do radiator lines, heater hoses, serpentine belt, all that stuff, and hopefully we can connect the harness and try to get a first start. I don't know if it's gonna need a patch delete yet, since the car was tuned already and everything, but hopefully we can bypass it somehow to maybe get it to crank and go from there. All right guys, I'm out.